Hello, my name is Callista and welcome back to Pentiment. In the last episode, we had our first murder. The Baron is dead. Oh my god! How atmospheric indeed. The Baron is dead and Piero has been accused of his murder. Now, we have a handful of leads we can follow, but the first thing I want to do, because I don't want to miss out on this, I think the kind of time aspect, you know, like time moving forwards, and if you're not careful, you'll miss out on this. If you're not careful, you'll miss out on that. I think that has finally started. So the first thing I want to do, I want to attend that autopsy. I am not missing that. If there is just one thing I get to attend, it's going to be the autopsy. Andreas, this way. There you are. I'm glad the storm didn't delay you. Now, even though I gave instructions that I was not to be disturbed, we must work quickly. Seeing a corpse up close can be unsettling for some. I hope you're up to it. I love this. Well, I'm not sure, but I want to help Piero. I studied medicine for a while in university. We saw dead bodies. I'll be fine. It's all right. I've grown up enough to not mind it so much. No. Now is the time for logic and reason and using our medical knowledge to its full advantage. I studied medicine for a while in university. We saw dead bodies. I'll be fine. Seeing a dead body is different from examining one directly. Now then, you should probably take notes as we go. They might be useful later. Ah, of course. Okay, yeah, I was like, is that gonna no, anterior, okay. I will begin by inspecting his anterior, starting with the face and his head. No visible wounds, no blemishes, teeth in good condition, nothing unusual. I'm noticing blood in his hair. So potentially, maybe, if the knife is the cause of death, maybe he was stabbed in the neck? That would be some... how tall was he? I mean, I'm turning my head to look at him lengthways. I mean, taller than Andreas, I think. No visible wounds, no blemishes, teeth in good condition, nothing unusual. Okay. Okay, so he wasn't stabbed in the neck. Aye. Neck, shoulders, and chest are ordinary. I need to clean some blood away to examine the torso. Yes, there it is. A puncture wound between the 6th and 7th ribs. So potentially he got a punctured lung. Yeah, you ain't. If it's a punctured lung, I don't think y'all can have that fixed in this time period. I don't think that's survivable in this day. Yes, there it is. A puncture wound between the 6th and 7th ribs. It's fairly shallow, though. I estimate it penetrated only about an inch. And it clearly came from his own hand. Oh, okay, so not a punctured lung, then. Only an inch. Yeah, would that puncture a lung? I don't have the best knowledge of anatomy. I make that... I want to make that perfectly clear. I don't... No, maybe... An inch might puncture a lung, but only just. Depending on how much, body fat or muscle he had on him. That's interesting. He did it himself. It's fairly shallow, though. I estimate it penetrated only about an inch, and it likely came from his own hand. Wait, he inflicted on himself? How can you tell? But that doesn't sound deep enough to have killed him. A Nuremberg inch or an Innsbruck inch. I don't know what the difference is. We have more important questions. Here's the thing. If the autopsy continues, then hopefully we will get a more obvious cause of death. I'm inclined to say this is something else. Yeah, I think this is the most important thing. Wait, he inflicted on himself? How can you tell? From the angle and depth of the strike, it's as though he were holding it in his right hand as he fell on his side. Oh, accidental stabbing! Okay, he accidentally stabbed himself. Got it. Oh, I like that the drawing is filling in more. It's becoming more detailed as it goes on. You must know that I was not always a monk. I was a mercenary for 10 long years in Poland. My familiarity with wounds comes from my time on the battlefield. I am no true surgeon, but I am the closest Kersau has. If the wound was that shallow, it doesn't sound like it could have been fatal. It wasn't. It's likely incidental, received while falling on his own knife. He must have some other wound that's issued forth all the blood we found him in. Then surely this must mean that Brother Piero is innocent. Who do you think killed him? I mean... Okay, so he didn't die from a stab wound. He died from something else. I mean... My one thought is, like I said, I can see blood right here. I can see blood right here. If he falls on his knife, he goes down, the blood starts to pool. We found him face down. Blood might get on the ends of his hair. It wouldn't be all the way up here, though. So I'm like, what caused this? I don't think this means that Brother Piero is... I think Brother Piero is innocent because he's got palsy and he's an old as fuck man. The man is old as fuck. And Lorenz was very young and just looking at him in pretty decent shape. If Piero... Like, Piero would have to be very stealthy. Like, Piero would have to, like, poison him. Or something. In which case, if you've just poisoned a man, why are you gonna walk up to him? And, oh, he's got a knife in him. Better take that out. Oh, shit, I'm covered in blood. Oh, no, everyone see it. Like, why would you do that? If you've gone to the trouble of being stealthy and poisoning someone, why would you go up to their bloody corpse and start touching them? You wouldn't. I think Brother Piero is innocent because I just don't think he's... I don't think it's likely. I don't think we have any evidence here that says he's innocent. I just don't think he's guilty. I simply don't think he's guilty. This... I mean, Florian is a monk. He lives here. He lives here. I was going to say all the time. No, he just lives here. If there was a murderer on the premises, I think Florian would have a much better idea of that than us. Who do you think killed him? I don't know. I can't even speculate. All I can do is examine this body and hope that you can figure out the rest. Simply pointing out the implausibility of Brother Piero striking the fatal blow may not be enough to convince the Archdeacon. Brother Piero never should have picked up that knife. I'm sure the appearance of guilt never even crossed his mind. Piero strikes me as being someone who is rather guileless. And that... Characters who are guileless, they're kind of my Achilles heel. I absolutely love characters who are just, they're just completely innocent. There is no malice or mischief about them. They are just there, happy to be so, going about their lives, because they often end up in situations like this. They're wrongly accused. They do something, not realizing the further implications of their actions. Brother Piero, he probably just saw him on the ground, thought, oh shit, this poor young man. He wouldn't have been thinking, oh, what an arsehole. He gave my work to Andreas. What a hoe. Like, he would never have thought that. He probably just found him and was like, oh, crap. Oh, God, this poor young man, I must save him. And he removed the knife, which is, again, if you ever come upon someone and they've been stabbed, leave the knife in there. Leave whatever is stabbing them in them. The hole is filled. That is such an indelicate way of putting it, but I don't know the medical terms for what I'm trying to say. It stems the bleeding. There we go. I get there in the end. Yet the knife is holding the blood in. Again, not a medical term. The knife is holding the blood in. Like, keep it in there. Don't remove it. That's the worst thing you can do. And if you've removed it, don't stick it back in. Don't do that. Just apply pressure. Apply pressure to the wound. Oh, Piero, bless you. Bless you, brother. Brother Piero never should have picked up that knife. I'm sure the appearance of guilt never even crossed his mind. Now then, let's move on. Oh, he got an STD. I don't know what the French disease is. I'm going through all, like chlamydia, herpes, like what? I would assume it'd be one of them. If it's just a sore, well, there is a sore on his sex, probably from the French disease. I doubt it had anything to do with his murder. I'm not familiar with... Oh my god. I love how the medical background doesn't know anything about STDs, but the... Oh, I've forgotten what this one is, but the womanizing background does. Oh, beautiful. The disease French soldiers received in the brothels of Naples. Yes. How do you know of it? We discussed it in university. I have to. Oh, I see. Have you taken mercury for it? I don't... Do we have that? Oh, God! A little, I'm fine now. I think Andreas would be careful. I think he'd be careful. I like to think he'd use condoms. Whatever they have for I believe, what would that be, like a sheepscot? Sheepscot that's been sewn into the correct shape, I would imagine. I haven't suffered from it, thankfully. One must be somewhat cautious. Ah, good. Anyway, it seems the Baron was not the most faithful husband. Not uncommon among the nobility. I would expect a monk to be more shocked by this. He was a mercenary. He was going to the brothels. He was going to the brothels. This man is not a virgin. I would be very much surprised if he was. I want more details, that's the thing. Saying nothing just moves the autopsy along. I want to get to know these people. I would expect a monk to be more shocked by this. I spent many years as a mercenary. Sex and death are common companions in that world. Besides, sex isn't all that rare, even in an abbey. Between everyone. Everyone's doing it. Everyone. I see, between the monks and the nuns, between the brothers. And everyone's going at it. The monks are banging the nuns, the monks are banging the monks, the nuns are banging the nuns, everyone's going at it. I'm telling you. I see. And moving down. Other than a few blisters on his feet from what I assume are new shoes, there's nothing wrong with his legs. Andreas, can you help me turn him over? Of course, grunt an affirmation stoically. Of course. There's a slight irregularity in his spine, possibly from an old injury. I don't think it has anything to do with how he died, though. How could that have happened? I've spent enough time with nobles to guess that he probably fell off his horse when hunting. This is... I've got to be honest. I expected this background to have bugger all importance. Like, I picked this because I wanted to flirt with people. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that was ultimately my one thing. I wanted to play Andreas as someone who likes the ladies. He likes a bit of a flirt. He likes a drink. I did not expect this. This is actually coming in handy. I'm actually kind of impressed. Good job, Andreas. Good job womanizing Andreas. I've spent enough time with nobles to guess that he probably fell off his horse when hunting. It seems like a silly thing to risk your life for, but I'm not one to talk. Whatever the reason, it didn't contribute to his death. Here it... Aha! It is a head wound, okay. Here it is. A rather dramatic head wound. The dark hair and the blood make it difficult to see, but it's quite bad. In my experience, I've never seen someone walk away from a head wound of this severity. Say nothing. How many head wounds have you seen? I imagine the force of the impact would have to be quite great to crack the skull. Oh. Okay, one, in which case, Piero absolutely didn't do this, because Piero can't stand up straight. How is he going to bash this guy on the head? Lorenz Rothvogel, could you just, like, do you I've got something on me shoe. Could you just bend down and look at me shoe for me? There we go, bash. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So we're probably looking... I would assume we are looking for someone as tall or taller than the Baron. To be able to get that. Unless maybe the Baron was sitting down, then... I would assume he was killed in the chapter house. There weren't any chairs. Yeah, I think we're looking for someone tall. I imagine the force of the impact would have to be quite great to crack the skull. Quite right. Ah, thank you. I was like, what's that? I see. Quite right. I see your medical training was not forgotten. I lack the benefit of university study, but the battlefields of Poland and Lithuania did provide an education of sorts. I'd rather be treated by someone with experience than a novice with a university education. Why didn't you study medicine in a university? Well, I would assume if he's going into mercenary work, he probably didn't have the funds to go to university. I wish I had finished my degree. I could be of more use to you now. Yeah, oh my god, if we had an actual degree in medicine, we could... Oh my god. We'd destroy this. We would destroy this body. I wish I had finished my degree. I could be of more use to you now. There's no need to despair. Many hands would make more work in this instance. The wound looks like it was caused by a single powerful blow from a blunt object, probably no more than 4 or 5 inches across. Okay. I wish I had a ruler. Why don't I have I'm bad at judging, like, lengths. How big is an inch? How big is an inch? Jesus, 4 or 5 inches across. I think... Once I've recorded this, I'm going and finding a ruler. That way I will have a decent measurement. But I think... Again, I'm holding up my hands. You can't see me. You can't see me, but I'm holding up my hands to try and gauge this. Okay. Blunt object, probably no more than 4 or 5 inches across. Interesting, okay. The wound looks like it was caused by a single powerful blow from a blunt object, probably no more than 4 or 5 inches across. Say nothing, how can you... Yeah, I want all the details. How can you tell? The skull is cracked in a single spot, and there's a clear impression in the skin around it. It would take extraordinary precision to hit the same spot twice, unless the Baron were already dead. It's likely he didn't die immediately. How long could he have survived for? I've seen similar injuries in battle. The victims don't last more than a few minutes, but it's an agonizing death. Even so, he couldn't have wandered far from where the blow was first struck. Okay. So he may not have been attacked in the chapter house. He was either attacked in the chapter house or someplace in the immediate area. Could he have been attacked outside of the abbey, the cloister? What about the garden? Is the church a possibility? Oh, I wish I had a map. I wish I had a map right here. Yeah, I can't open them up. Okay. The big, so there is a door from the chapter house. There is a door that leads into the big garden. The church is also, I think you'd have to go down. Give me a minute. I think you'd have to go down a corridor. I can't remember where the cloister is. I can't remember where that is. Outside the abbey. Again, you'd have to, if it was outside the abbey, then either you'd have to walk up the stairs and in, which he would have collapsed on the stairs. But if he was attacked maybe like around the shrine, again, you'd have to open a door. But then the chapter house is like right there. You open the door and then you just go in. Like that. No, his feet were pointing towards the garden. His feet were pointing towards the garden. I think this is the most likely. What about the big garden? It's possible, but an incredible risk. The abbot's house looks out directly on the garden. Anyway, whatever killed the Baron was a blunt instrument of considerable heft. Okay, so it's 4 to 5 inches. Heavy. I would assume probably either metal or wood. Because if it were like ceramic, that'd shatter. We'd see pieces of ceramic in his hair or in his brain. So something that if it's wood, it would have to be well cared for wood. Because again, if it was a considerable blow, the wood would chip. So if we're not seeing any wood, then it is either metal or from a piece of wood that is well cared for. I'm sorry I'm stuttering. I've got a lot of thoughts in my brain. I love a good murder mystery. I'm so into this. My brain is just like, it's going at 100 miles an hour. I'm just like, oh dear God. Anyway, whatever killed the Baron was a blunt instrument of considerable heft. The part that impacted him was likely a little smaller than a fist. Okay. I'm looking at my own fist. My fist is not a good judge for this. I have tiny hands. I have really small hands, so I should not be going off of my own fist size here. The part that impacted him was likely a little smaller than a fist. Oh. Could it have actually been a fist? I'd say 2 to 2.5 inches around. I'm so happy I picked all the things I did. So far the occult knowledge really hasn't helped all that much, but fuck it. It's nice flavour. It's very nice flavour. I'd say 2 to 2.5 inches around. Perhaps a pig mallet, a joining hammer, or even a round stone 4 to 5 inches across, held in the hand. That's specific. Estimating size, distance, and number have always come easily to me. Shrug. I am so envious. I can't estimate size, distance, or number at all. I can't do that in the slightest. I'm very envious of Andreas here. estimating size, distance, and number have always come easily to me. Hopefully your talents will help you find the murder weapon in short order. Whoever did this must have caught the Baron unaware. Save the small knife wound, he has no other injuries. I suppose that he was struck, drew his knife to defend himself, and fell on it before Brother Piero discovered him. So, I believe we've discovered two important things. Piero didn't stab the Baron, even if he had, that isn't what killed him. The Baron was killed by a blow to the head from a heavy blunt object. Yeah, this is... I don't need to discuss Piero. I know Piero is innocent. Piero is a good man. He is a guileless man. He's innocent. I don't need to consider this. I need to focus on finding who did this. The Baron was killed by a blow to the head from a heavy blunt object. Yes, exactly. If you can find what caused the blow, it may lead you to the killer. We also know that Piero didn't stab the Baron. We know that, and I suspect even the abbot knows that. But you may need more evidence to convince the Archdeacon. Oh, there is one other item of interest. I found it in the Baron's jacket, but didn't want to open it without you. A note of some kind. I trust you to open it more carefully than I would. Oh. Let me just see if I can read this. Das Mädchen, das starb und die... Oh, bloody hell. I don't know what letter this is. Unschuldige mit ihr Materin Rapitelhaus? Again, I'm so sorry to any German speakers out there. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. What does it say? Bloody hell. The sky is German, dear God. I've offended the lightning. What does it say? Oh. Oh, Mädchen. I'm aware of that. I know some German, not much. The girl who died, and the innocent, and the innocent with her. Matins chapter. Oh. Okay. So someone wanted to meet him. Someone is saying, this is blackmail. This is blackmail. Oh, you remember the girl who died, and the innocent with her? Meet me in the chapter house at Matins. Okay. The girl? What girl? And what innocent? One of the nuns? Someone from the village? Your guess is as good as mine. Here's the thing. If a nun had died, surely he'd know. If there had been an unexpected death with one of the nuns, surely Florian as a monk would know about that. He might not know when the people from the village die. Someone from the village? That could be anyone, and I'm not as familiar with the families as you are. Can you tell who wrote it? Well, a couple of things. One, it's in purple ink. Not many people are going to have purple ink. Two, look at the penmanship. Look at the penmanship. This is someone who is highly educated. Highly educated. Can you tell who wrote it? Oh. Okay, it's definitely someone with a great deal of experience as a scribe, but it can't be Adok or Guy. They're not an Italian, I can tell you that. Italian scribes used humanist script. This is a highly refined Gothic hand. Oh. So it's not even a case of, like, this is someone who has experience as a scribe. This is someone who has experience with a specific dialect. With a specific way of writing. And it's highly refined. Another noble? We only have one noble in the village, and that was Lorenzo. Maybe his wife? I mean, the girl who died, we know that the Baron was a womanizer. Maybe... My time is about to go off. There we go. Maybe... Okay, maybe the wife. Then again, if this is his wife, surely he'd recognize her handwriting. Then again, if he's not a good husband. If he's cheating, maybe he only married her for appearance sakes. You know, like, oh, she comes from a wealthy family, therefore, like, I've got to marry this girl. My initial thought was, like, maybe his wife found out, like, oh, he's been cheating. There was a girl who died. And so she wrote this. Maybe she came ahead, like, they're expecting her. Maybe she wrote on ahead in secret. And she was able to, you know, like, oi, you know, small child, deliver this note to the Baron. Baron gets the note. But then again, that's my one thing. If it was his wife, surely he would recognize her handwriting. But then again, we don't know what kind of husband he was. We don't know if he actually paid attention to her. They're not an Italian, I can tell you that. Italian scribes use humanist script. This is a highly refined Gothic hand. As good as Adoc and Guy are, I don't think they could replicate this. What? Really? If not them, who? I intend to find out. I wish you good luck finding the answer. Now, I'm sorry to rush you, but I must ask you to leave. Every minute you stay here is additional... Oh. Oh. Were you expecting someone to say anything? Were you expecting someone? Oh, Werner! Okay, the physician... Hey. Brother Florian, could you open up? It's Werner Stolz, the physician from Tassing. Yes, I'm in the middle of something. Could you return after supper? I'm afraid it can't wait. Father Gano asked me to examine the Baron's body. All right, just give me a moment. Andreas, I need you to hide yourself. Of course. Why? From Werner. I don't care if he knows I'm here. Well, he might tell Father Gano. Of course. Oh my... Hot doctor, hello! No, now is not the time to be lustful. Now is the time to investigate. Ah, Dr. Stolz. Sorry to keep you waiting. And now, what did you need? The abbot wanted me to examine the his sexiness. His sexiness has distracted me. The abbot wanted me to examine the Baron's body before his wife arrives. I feel guilty giving him this accent, but he's from the village. Villagers sound like this. And the people from the abbey sound like this. Two different voices. It seems unnecessary at this point, as I've just completed my own examination. Well then, what's the harm in letting me take a look? Dr. Stolz, with all respect, I've finished. The cause of death is clear. If you had arrived an hour ago, I would have had no problem with your assistance. Assistance? I'm a university-trained physician. I can examine a corpse on my own without the help of a battlefield sawbones. Oh, no, we're just gonna remain hidden. No one needs to know we were here. No one needs to know. Regardless of your opinions regarding my abilities, the examination is finished. If you insist on inspecting the body anyway, I must insist that the abbot tells me himself. What? Making me bring the abbot here is a waste of time. So is performing an examination on this corpse immediately after one was just completed. Idiotic. I'll return with Father Gano presently. That was close. Now quickly, leave through the cloister before they return. Of course. Thank you, Brother Florian. Think nothing of it. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then. Oh, 1 day and 19 hours. I should find someone to eat with. Okay. I can't get that note out of my head. The girl who died and the innocent with her. What could it mean? And who wrote it? Oh, that is... I have so much to think about. But the first thing I want to do is get a ruler so I can know what all of these measurements look like. In the next episode, we have some investigating to do, but until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Kallista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.